So I was talking to my friend about this, and I figured we would turn it into a video. Why we sometimes get uncomfortable around people who are constantly complaining about life and about there's like victims for life, basically. And one of the reasons why we can get uncomfortable around this is because we realize how easy it is for ourselves to fall down to such a level, or even not necessarily people who complain all the time, but like people, I don't know, homeless people, or just people who are really down and out on their luck. It's sometimes you feel really uncomfortable because you realize how easy it could be for yourself to fall into a situation similar to that if a series of events in your life happened and stuff really just didn't go your way, if you had no support network. And that realization of, oh, that could be me, is uncomfortable. It's not a pleasant one because you'd want to think, oh, I would never be homeless. I would never fall that low. You can. Like, if you get addicted to the wrong drugs, if you get addicted to any drugs, if you start hanging out with the wrong crowd, if you start doing bad habits, like, if you do any of literally hundreds of things, your life could take a course or trajectory to a place where you would be homeless or really down and out, and maybe even start seeing yourself as a victim. And in order to, and my friend asked me, he's like, so am I always going to feel that way about it? Like, what is going to happen? Like, and I was telling him, I'm like, although I haven't gotten there myself, I do believe that through anchoring your habits and your own, I don't know, personal, like, it's mostly your habits, by anchoring your habits and your level of consciousness basically to higher energy activities, you'll stabilize yourself at a point to which you no longer have to worry about necessarily falling, because so many things would have to happen in order for you to go down to that level that you would be able to consciously catch yourself before that happened. A lot of the reasons why people, and by that I mean like meditating, cutting out certain drugs, or using any drugs, like being more mindful, not watching TV all the time, having more control of your thoughts, daily exercise, like all of those habits would pretty much have to fail for you to fall down. So the more stable you can make yourself at what I would call a higher energy level, higher consciousness state, the better you are, and the more apt you will be to help those of lower consciousness, lower. And when I say consciousness, consciousness is your ability to perceive the world, and on all the levels that which it exists. But let's take someone who is unconscious, who's knocked out, and say, all right, let's look at someone who is conscious. They can see the world, they can think, they can do all these things. Their levels of consciousness. There's like that step between unconscious to what the normal person would be experiencing, what you and I are experiencing. There are steps past that where you observe and experience so much more. It's very difficult to articulate it because language isn't necessarily made to do that. It's more, or at least it hasn't been adapted as of yet to do that, or at least those experiences to which, because language is just an idiom. When we use words that communicate states, um, those higher energy level, higher consciousness states are not yet saturated into the collective consciousness, so much so that through saying a word like hungry, we can have everybody know exactly what we're referring to. But the point is, through anchoring your systems in your personal habits, you can eventually feel stable enough at a let's just call it energy level or consciousness level, to where you will no longer, I don't think you would any longer feel discomfort by those people and would be in a more apt place to help them. Because I do believe the discomfort comes from like seeing, like, I don't know, over just empathizing with them, and then also partially due to your own realization that that could be you. And that thought is like kind of like an ego death. You're like, well, who am I? And then you're like, well, if I could be that, then who? What is that? Like, I don't know. But let's see. Anchoring higher low habits. I think there's one or two things I'm leaving out, but I don't know, that's most of what I want to refer to for this. And if you want to understand any of the terminology I used about levels of energy, read the book Levels of Energy by Frederick E. Dawson. It's really amazing, but I don't know. Consciousness kind of is similar to, it's not the same as, but the different levels of consciousness can be seen as someone who has a victim mentality sees everything in their world through the light of victimhood. It's like a lens that covers their eyes. And they talk about this in actually lean productive techniques for manufacturing, how we need to change the questions we've been asking. That's just a different book I've been reading. But it's like your models of reality and your, like, yeah, it's your models of reality, and how conscious you are kind of depends on how, I don't know how to describe this. I don't know, if you want to know how conscious you are, how often are you actually aware of your own breathing? How often are you aware of your own thoughts? How often, like, yeah, basically, the more conscious you are, the more often that happens. A lot of people operate on autopilot, constantly distracting themselves with their phones and audiobooks and music at every opportunity, and therefore find being alone with their thoughts causes them discomfort. If you're aware of what your thoughts are and you know how to change them, then you're more conscious than a lot of people today. And there's ways to go up and ways to go down. But I don't know, comment any questions down below that I didn't answer, because I'm sure there are definitely going to be some, and I'll make follow-up videos for those. Peace out.